And that brings us to the game of the week. The Holy War played in Salt Lake City, Utah this year, where the number 9 BYU Cougars come into town at Rice-Eccles Stadium to take on the Utah Utes. Another 10:15 p.m. kickoff on ESPN, primetime game, as I like to call it. BYU currently favored in this one by 4 on the road. The number 9 team in the nation, number 4 ranked playoff team overall. This is going to be a heck of a game any way about it. And even though the Utah Utes are down this year, you got to expect them to come out swinging in this one in a highly heated rivalry game in the Holy War up in Utah. Brad, I'll turn it over to you. Thoughts on this big marquee rivalry matchup and who comes out on top to win the Holy War?
Guys, what stands out to me about this game is, going into the season, Utah was up there with probably Oklahoma State as one of the favorites in the Big 12. BYU, I don't remember off the top of my head where they were picked, but I would say, they were probably in the bottom half, and it's been just total opposites for this team. And you're talking about BYU's undefeated at this point. Utah is sitting at 500 with maybe a chance to miss out on a bowl game, and just really, really an interesting season. Of course, Utah has been just undone by another injury to Cam Rising. Guys, I think a storyline that I'm going to be watching closely as we're starting to get into late November and December soon is this Kyle Whittingham's last year. Of course, they've got a head coach in waiting there. This could be it. I'm not saying it, but I'm curious as that's maybe a storyline that we're talking about. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Utah has struggled at the quarterback position. Zach Wilson's little brother Isaac has struggled. And guys, the biggest stat that stood out to me for BYU: 14 interceptions as a team, and they've got a couple of defensive ends with a pick. I mean, that is really, really something. Rice-Eccles is going to be it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be electric. I think this is a low-scoring defensive game. I think BYU makes some mistakes, but I ultimately think BYU's defense, they just do a great job of forcing turnovers. I think they force Wilson into a few picks more than likely. One of those being late in the fourth quarter, and the Cougars get a road win Saturday night.
Yeah, Brad, this is an intriguing matchup. And you mentioned Isaac Wilson, brother of Zach Wilson, who was the quarterback at BYU, later drafted by the Jets, I believe, 2nd overall, and now he's kind of had his downfall. He's back I think he's in Denver now with the Broncos. But you almost have to wonder, is this a show-out game for Isaac? I mean, if there's any game that he needs to get up for, it's this game, right? He chose Utah over BYU. His brother went to BYU. A lot of bragging rights at stake. This is a big, big matchup for him alone. Rooster, I'll turn it over to you. Can BYU get it done on the road, or does Utah come out on top at home with the upset?
Well, as Brad mentioned, I think preseason, before the season started, you could swap these two teams' seasons and nobody would have ever second-guessed it. I thought Utah coming into the Big 12, getting away from the teams like the UCLA and the USC and the Oregon, I thought Utah would be able to go in there, and I thought they could almost create a little mini dynasty because of the much weaker competition and how well their prestige has been known around the country for having the strong defense and just been able to get the job done. But their season this year has been a complete disaster compared to what we thought before the season started. Cam Rising, it seems like he has been a game-time decision for 3 years now, and they finally have just pulled the plug on him for the season. And this is really, as Nate mentioned over here, this is really Isaac Wilson's prove-it moment. And I'm just going to be honest. Come at me in the comments, people. I just can't see BYU finishing the season undefeated. They will lose a game this season. And as all these Alabama fans mention how they're always somebody else's Super Bowl, well, let me tell you something. This is Utah's Super Bowl this season because they have already been eliminated from the playoff. They've been eliminated from the Big 12 championship game. So they are throwing all their chips on the table this weekend. Expect some trick plays. Expect some exotic blitzes. They are going to go all out in this game. And I think that Utah's going to come out on top in this one. This is their Super Bowl. They've got nothing else left this season other than what? The Independence Bowl. That's what they're playing for.
Wow. I was not expecting that pick, Rooster. And to your point, Rooster, this is Utah's game of the year. This is it. Isaac Wilson, Utah, they've got one shot to prove themselves to their fans, to their athletic director. You mentioned, Brad, this could be the head coach's last year. I can't imagine him going out like this. Maybe he retires. I can't see him getting fired, though, especially with the situation in Cam Rising. You got to get another quarterback in there next year because I don't think Isaac Wilson is going to be your guy for the future. I think he might transfer out. But nonetheless, I got 2 words for you guys in this game. Jake Retzloff. He has been fantastic this year. Hasn't been elite, but he's been good enough for BYU, completing 59% of his passes, 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. BYU is one of those teams that just finds a way to win. You hear it all the time. You'll have teams that find a way to lose, and you'll have teams that find a way to win. BYU has a winning culture. They're going to find a way to win this game. I'm taking BYU on the road to cover the spread. I think they win by 10 points. And guys, this is some marketing grab for you guys. How about Mazel Tov Mormons? I mean, you got a Jewish quarterback playing at a Mormon school right there on the front T-shirt. Mazel Tov Mormons. That's BYU's latest NIL grab. So Mazel Tov to BYU fans and Mazel Tov to Jake Retzloff, whatever your name is. This is going to be not even close. Give me BYU big in the Holy War. And technically, I guess you could say it's 3 whatever religions going on at once with this Holy War. So Mazel Tov Mormons. And that's it for this week. Let us know down in the comments who you think is going to come out on top in the Holy War in Salt Lake City, Utah. We'll be back next week for Week 12 previews and predictions. A lot of key matchups still to come that you will not want to miss out on. We'll see you next week. It's time to break the huddle.